So starting where we left off, we have now our horizontal velocity and our vertical. Our dy, in this case with the marble launcher, we have the marble launcher at a certain height above the ground. So it's kind of like our projectile number 2. And so that height comes up to be, I'm going to call it negative because the 245 meters. The marble starts higher and ends lower. So that's a negative 0.245 meters. So again, our rule is that if we have 3 on one side, we can work with the time. So let's go ahead and figure out how we calculate the time. This is going to get a little trickier because now we do have an initial y velocity. So I'm going to suggest that you go to the App Store and download Quadratic Formula Solver, because once we set this equation up, my dy vertically was at negative 245 meters, which equals the dy velocity, which we calculated through the sine, and this would be the other parts to this equation. Now, if you notice, we have a t and a t squared. That makes this equation rather tricky. Before, this one canceled out to 0. So this kind of lends itself to what we call the quadratic equation. I don't know if you've gotten to this in math, but this is how we would solve it. Setting up our a for our squared value, our b for this value right here, and the c for the number. But you can see that this has to be set to 0. We will not be solving it using this equation. We're going to do the easy route, and we're going to go to the Quadratic Formula Solver on the app. But we need to figure out what A, B, and C represent. So I need to set up this equation so that it looks the same way. So I'm going to take this. We do know that this is negative 4.9. So I'm going to rearrange this so I have A, B, and C in order and equal to 0. If this is the number, this is the C value, because there's no t value associated with it, I need to carry that over to the side so that it's equal to 0. So in order to do that, I need to add 0.245. So I'm going to say 0 equals, I'm going to take this negative 4.9 t squared plus, this is my t, 2.49 t plus 0.245. I just carried this over to the other side so that I could have this equation equal to 0. So if we take a look at this equation, we have, this is going to be my A, this will be B, and this is my C. So you can go to the Formula Solver app and it'll ask what is A equal to, put in negative 4.9, B is 2.49, and C is 0.245. Just make sure you realize it's positive. And so the real solution is what we're looking for. The real solution on that app comes out to 0.59, and that is equal to t. So if we go back and we take our chart and we plug in our t value as 0.59 seconds on both sides, now we can solve for where